Wentz Financial Group presents Zips Basketball Weekly with John Groce. Investment management for your lifetime. Contributing sponsors include Summa Health, it's your health. Let's own it together. Bud Light, the world's famous light beer. Dilly Dilly. Doubletree by Hilton Akron Fairlawn, preferred hotel of Zips Athletics. By your Akron, Canton, Bryant heating and cooling dealers. And the Spaghetti Warehouse, famous for its 15-layer lasagna.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome to the final edition of Zips Basketball Weekly with head coach John Groce, brought to you all season long by Bud Wentz and the Wentz Financial Group. And Coach, 17 wins this season compared to 15 last year. I know you wanted a little bit more, but you got to be proud of the way this program has advanced.
Yeah, no question. I reminded the guys that in our last team meeting, just that, I appreciated their efforts and contributions for us to grow and improve from year one to year two, whether it's non-conference wins, conference wins, overall wins, things that people look at, a 15th consecutive trip to Cleveland.
Right.
All those are things that certainly fans and others look at. Those are outcomes. And I know that's what we want to try the best we can to control. You can't do that all the time. But I look deeper than that, Joe. I look more at the processes behind that. And, yesterday when I looked at some of the numbers when, we were 300 and something in the nation in two-point defense, and this year we were 19th.
Right.
We were 270th overall. This year we finished 21st as of this morning. And there's a lot of areas that are like that. Turnover percentage. Last year we were 11th in the league in taking care of the ball. This year 3rd. So just a lot of three-point defense. Number 1 in the league, 11th in the country.
Right.
The previous year we were 280 something. So we've grown a lot. We've gotten better, and I appreciate certainly all the guys on this year's team, on our 18-19 team, their efforts, their contributions to allow us to take some steps forward. Now, are we where we need to be? Absolutely not. We want to take significantly more steps forward between year 2 and year 3. And, at least mentally right now, we're busy at work doing that. I think part of that is the next 2.5 to 3 weeks. It's such a long year now, Joe, and you get to work with them year round. So this next 2.5 to 3 weeks, I really want them to focus on academics, get mentally, emotionally, physically refreshed. We have Riak, who needs surgery.
Yeah.
We have some other guys that are dinged up a little bit. Give them a chance to get healthy and feel good before we start the spring training camp.
A little bit later in the program, Coach, we're going to take a look at the top 5 moments of Zip basketball this season. But going all the way back to the first show we did, you commented, I'd agree, this is the best Mid-American Conference I've seen in a long time as far as talent.
Yeah, the subjective eye, I think, can certainly tell you that pretty quickly. But the objective statistics certainly tell you that in a resounding fashion.
Right.
So it's the depth of the league. We talked about it. And I think it was, most when you look at those all-conference teams, first, second, third, and honorable mention, and when 16 or 17 of the 20 players are seniors, it's an older league.
Right.
And usually when you're old in this league and you have older players and you have a lot of experienced players, and to have that all at once, top to bottom, is pretty unique and rare. And then, obviously the exceptional play of Buffalo.
Yeah.
So it was a heck of a league. A really challenging league, but it was fun to compete. I think it taught us a lot. And I think it's going to be great for us in terms of what we build moving forward and how we use this experience that we went through in year 2 to make us better.
Well, the Mid-American Conference postseason started last Monday for the Zips as the Miami Redhawks came in round number 1. Let's go back to Rhodes Arena, pick up highlights brought to you as always by Summa Health Systems, courtesy of ESPN. Coach, you got a home game. You wanted to get that home game, and the winner went to Cleveland. You guys played great.
Oh, played well. I thought it was interesting. The thing that was really, disappointing at the end of the year is we had 2 games, Bowling Green and Miami, both at home, where we played lights out. Clearly the best we've played all year. And then we had Ohio at home, and then obviously the MAC tournament game where we just didn't play nearly as well and had a couple of our worst performances of the year. You usually don't see that in that type of stark contrast, Joe, late in the year, that extreme. But something obviously from a consistency standpoint we've got to take a look at, we got to get better at. But you can see here from the highlights, I mean, we got out on them early, we made shots, our defense really spearheaded that effort on Monday night. It was terrific. I mean, our ability to guard the ball, our ball screen defense, our transition defense. We had a chance at one point there to hold them under 50 for the game. And, really buckled down. I thought the guys really played well.
I'll tell you, in the first half, you shot 50%, Coach, 13 for 26. And in addition, great defense. You hold them to 24 points.
Yeah, and there's usually when we're defending like that, we've talked about it, ad nauseum at this point this season. But when we do that, that really frees us up to get some things in transition, and I think really frees our minds up. I thought we played really talk about playing with clear minds and clean hearts this time of year. And, teams hit the reset button. We referenced it as season 3 last week, and when you do that, it's kind of like fresh start, and guys can get pretty motivated, and that's certainly what happened on Monday night. I thought we played very motivated with a lot of toughness, a lot of energy, and we're really, really good at both ends of the floor.
Pretty good interior defense, Coach. You've been blocking a lot of shots late in the season, had 7 blocks against Miami.
Yeah, no, our 2-point defense has really improved a great deal, as I mentioned earlier in the show here. And we're active around the rim, and, certainly Riak and Eman were a big part of that, but others as well. The better you guard the ball and keep the ball in front and try to limit rotations unless it's ones that you want to take place, and work on those rotations. The ones that you don't want to take place where they gut you are the ones that are oftentimes the most difficult to defend. But we really limited those on Monday night, and had certainly statistically and then with the subjective eye and my viewpoint as good a defensive performance as we've had all year.
Zips finished with 3 players in double figures. Lauren Christian Jackson, boy, he was hot, 25 points. Utomi finishes with 20. Ivy, 14 points, 6 assists, 2 blocks, 1 steal. Great win, and that win got the Zips up to Cleveland to take on Buffalo. So, boy, you're really playing well going up to Cleveland.
No question. In that game in particular, obviously felt like we had really good momentum and really did some good things and got contributions from a lot of guys. Thought it was a great, great opening round win for us.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll take a look at highlights of that game with Buffalo up in Cleveland right after this.
The difference with Wentz Financial Group is that we do not have a cookie-cutter answer to any of our clients' needs. Every day is completely different in the market, and every client situation is unique. We value the opportunity and responsibility to manage the hopes and dreams of our 3,000 customers nationwide.
Come see the difference Wentz Financial Group can make for your financial future. Wentz Financial Group. Investment management for your lifetime.
The University of Akron is more than a college or campus.
It's a connection to the community.
To the thousands of opportunities right here in Northeast Ohio.
And to the partnerships with employers and organizations.
Like the LeBron James Family Foundation, where we connect kids to life-changing possibilities.
It's the strength of UA, this city, and these connections.
It's where students make an impact on their community and in the world.
While still making an impact
in the classroom,
on the track,
in the boardroom,
and in my community.
That's what makes us the University of Akron.
Well, the Zips headed up to Cleveland last week to take on Buffalo, and that says it all right in one sentence. And, Coach, that was the 3rd time you played them, and you had played them so tough the first 2 games.
Yeah, we had played well, and I felt like our game plan was really good. I felt practice was good going into the game. And, we got out, obviously. I thought a couple bunnies that we missed around the rim early were a little bit deflating, and the score just kind of hung around 12-6 for about 8 minutes.
You're right.
And our defense was hanging in there, and then we didn't convert some of the easier shots and baskets and opportunities that we had in between that 12-minute media timeout and the 8-minute media timeout, and then they were scorching. And then in the middle of that, to compound things, we had a MAC season record 29 fouls called in the first half, which had not happened in a single MAC game all year, 17 of them against us, and it was the first time that I'd ever coached any team in 20-some years where we had 2 guys with 4 fouls and 2 guys with 3 fouls in a half. And it really disrupted the rhythm for us. Certainly I don't want to discount that it disrupted the rhythm for Buffalo, because it very well, they had 12 fouls. We just happened to have more foul trouble. And you know, we don't have right now in year 2, we did not have the depth that they had to be able to overcome that in our rotations. So what ends up happening is a guy like Jamon Ivey ends up playing center for the first time in his career as an Akron Zip in debatedly our biggest game of the year.
Right.
And so that didn't help us at all. And it was just one of those days where we didn't play very well. They played great. You know, we got in foul trouble. About everything that could go wrong went wrong for us. We've got to learn from it. You know, my friend, and I've said this before, Brad Stevens, and I've used this with our guys, you know, the pain's part of the process, and that was painful. But we've got to learn from it as we head from year 2 to year 3 and use that experience to make us better, understanding that you got to try to control what you can control, and obviously we got to play a little bit better. But give credit to Buffalo. I mean, you know, I've had numerous people tell me, Frenchie said to me, hey, I've been covering the league for 37 years, the best MAC team I've seen.
They're as good as I've seen.
You know, so that, you know, they're good. I mean, you know, they're really, really good. You know, congrats to them on a heck of a run, a heck of a season to this point, and obviously it's still going for them.
Let's go back up to Cleveland this past Thursday. That was a noon tip-off up at the Q. Highlights brought to you once again by Summa Health Systems, ESPN. Coach, as you mentioned, it was a bizarre first half. You used that word post-game. Steve French used that word, and there was about a 3 or 4 minute stretch. We're down by only 6. Then we're down by 16 and 20.
Yeah, it was a really odd, you're right, Joe. It was just an odd game. What made it even more unique that we didn't mention was that we had the 29 fouls called in the first half, and then, Joe, I believe it was 8 or 9.
You're right.
In the second half. So 2 totally different halves, which is really maybe the best word I could use is confusing for the players, you know, in terms of what type of game it's going to be, how it's going to be played. I thought it really, really disrupted the rhythm of the game for both teams. I thought it affected us, you know, probably a little bit more with our 8-man rotation than it did Buffalo. But, you know, at the end of the day, we've got to play better. Our defense was not as impactful as it usually is. I thought the foul trouble made us less aggressive on that end of the floor than what we had been on Monday night against Miami. And I thought the start to the second half was going to be critical. In the first 4 or 5 minutes, we actually got the best shots offensively that we had gotten the whole game, but our defense wasn't as impactful, in particular in the second chance point area category, where I felt like they got us on the glass to start the second half and, you know, just got away from us. You know, certainly wasn't indicative of how we defended all year, I know that, but it was really an odd, that word's probably the best word to use, bizarre game.
I thought the wild card in the game for Buffalo, Coach, was Jeremy Harris. He had played okay against us the first 2 games, but he got back to his normal all-conference form against us in game 3.
And if anyone followed the tournament, certainly did the next 2 days as well.
Exactly.
I mean, he is a load to defend because of his positional size and his ability to play inside out, his ability to drive the ball equally well. You know, obviously he's a lefty, and a lot of people, Joe, sit on his left hand, but he beat people right all weekend. He made threes. He got on the glass. He was a terrific player, and certainly the best player that played in our game on that particular day.
I know you were waiting for a big run in that second half. It never came, and that's a credit to Buffalo. They really clamped down defensively.
Yeah, I thought we got a little mentally soft, to be quite honest. I'm a straight shooter. I thought when the score got away from us a little bit in the second half that we didn't quite respond to that like we need to respond to that, and it's a great lesson for our guys. You have to keep playing. You do. You got to have the mental toughness regardless of the circumstance, whether it's 29 fouls called, 9 fouls called, you're making shots, you're missing shots, it's home, away, it's neutral. And we have got to, we're better with that than we were in the first year, but not nearly good enough. And it's got to be better. And I'm hoping the fact that we've got a lot of guys that experienced this year returning, some key players, that those guys will really take a hold of that, learn from that, and grow in that area.
We're going to take a break and back with our Players of the Week right after this.
Roman was born with a hole in his heart. But thanks to the experts at Summa, who found the problem and fixed it quickly, he's feeling 26 again. Not 76. Minimally invasive heart procedures, many performed in under 2 hours. Summa Health. vital for getting back in the game and more.
Sir Jeremy, you are a true friend of the crown. Dilly dilly. Dilly dilly. Madam Susan, you are an even truer friend of the crown. Dilly dilly. Dilly dilly. What is that?
This is a spiced honey mead wine that I have really been into lately.
Please follow Sir Brad. He's going to give you a private tour of the Pit of Misery.
I'm sorry, what?
Pit of Misery. Dilly dilly. Dilly dilly.
Here's to the friends you can always count on.
Now it's time for Whose Stock is Rising, brought to you all season long by the Wentz Financial Group. A guy you're going to be counting on big time next year, Coach Channel Banks out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Got quality minutes all season long, got better as the season went along.
Yeah, no, he's obviously a guy that early on he started, came off the bench for us, but played a lot of minutes for us. Needs to have a great offseason, really going to challenge him in the weight room to get stronger physically. But the great thing about Channel is he's one of those guys that wants to be good, and when you ask him to do something, he's going to give you a great effort to get it done.
He got better with that three-point shot, too, as the season went along, I thought.
He did. You know, obviously he was scorching early. Then he kind of hit a rough spell and then kind of got back to what he was doing earlier in the season. There you see him make one up in Cleveland there with the highlight. But certainly has the capability of making shots.
He's a good one out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Look forward to watching him play a lot of basketball next season. Our player of the week, what a week he had. That is Lauren Christian Jackson. Coach, he had 2 or 3 of his best games late in the year, had 25 against Miami, and I'm not sure he came out of the game against Buffalo.
Yeah, no, totally agree with you. I thought his aggressiveness, his playmaking, and it's interesting. He had a really, really good year defensively. Obviously, coaching him in practice for a year, and then it's different than having him out there for games here in the first year he played games for us. But he did a nice job at that end of the floor being pesky, and here you see him making several plays. Thought he was terrific in the Miami game. And then, unfortunately in the Buffalo game on offense, their pressure really got us extended. They were denying, and he was the one guy that had the capability of breaking their defense down and did it a few times successfully.
As we mentioned last week, Coach, a lot of people forget he's only a sophomore. He's got 2 more years left.
No question. A guy that I think has a bright future.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, the top 5 highlights in this past season. We'll watch those again right after this.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family cool this summer,
let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Air Comfort. Find them at aircomfortohio.com.
The difference with Wentz Financial Group is that we do not have a cookie cutter answer to any of our clients' needs. Every day is completely different in the market, and every client situation is unique. We value the opportunity and responsibility to manage the hopes and dreams of our 3,000 customers nationwide.
Come see the difference Wentz Financial Group can make for your financial future. Wentz Financial Group. Investment management for your lifetime.
Well, when you win 17 games in a basketball season, there's going to be a lot of highlights. Right now, let's take a look at our top 5, starting at number 5. And Coach, congratulations against Detroit Mercy. You won your 200th game as a head coach.
Yeah, that's a lot of people involved in that, obviously. First the players, and then great staff, and certainly our families sacrifice a lot for us to, I remind myself at times, to coach a kids game that we all love. So, yeah, it was a great great win that day against Detroit, and probably just means I'm getting old, Joe.
Getting old and getting better. How's that sound? But many, many more wins in your career, Coach. But we want to highlight the fact that you got number 200 as a head coach at the University of Akron against Detroit Mercy. Hey, as a team, defensively, Coach has been talking about great defense all season long, especially at home. 16 home games, 11 times. The Zips held the opponents to 60 points or less. Coach, what a great accomplishment that was.
Yeah, probably the area for me, that was the most, I don't want to say satisfying because I'm never satisfied, but proud, of that area and the improvement that we made from year 1 to year 2. The guys gave a lot of effort on that end. We're really dialed in for the majority of the year, and it was the one area all year that I felt like was the most consistent for us that gave us a chance to compete and win games. So, kudos to our players.
Another highlight, number 3, is Lauren Christian Jackson. What a game he had against Bowling Green at home. 31 points, and as a point guard, he handles the basketball more than anybody else, and no turnovers in that game, Coach.
No, he was tremendous, and I thought really late in the year started to really come into his own and make plays for himself and others. He's a tough cover, you know, because he's so fast and quick and shifty. It's hard to keep him out of the paint. Anytime you can get the ball to the paint offensively, good things happen for your team.
Highlight number 2, how about Jamond Ivey and Daniel Utomi, both reaching the 1,000-point plateau. They're members of the 1,000-point club. And, Coach, nice thing you got Utomi back.
It's great for both those guys, obviously, to score, 1,000 points in a career. Probably means that they've been around for a little while, like I said about the 200 wins, but it also shows their impact. Obviously, to be able to do that, there's only X amount of Zips that have ever done that in their career. They joined a select group, and, obviously a great accomplishment for both guys.
Congratulations to those 2 young men. And highlight number 1, and if you're a Zip fan, you're still smiling about this one. How about the big win at home against Kent State? 5 straight threes to blow that game open in the second half.
Anytime you start making shots like that, you're able to get a little bit of distance. And the other thing it does, my old boss used to say, when you make shots like that, it makes you look like you know what you're doing, So obviously that was a big moment in the game because it was nip and tuck back and forth, and then that gave us some distance and allowed us to close Kent out in that first game.
Coach, all season long you've been saying this is a good shooting basketball team. Great example of that against Kent.
Yeah, we were very inconsistent in that area overall, but you're right, Kent game, you showed the Bowling Green game, the Miami game on Monday night, we really made shots. We made 17 threes against Miami, 5 in a row to win the Kent home game, to get some distance there. So we're capable. We've got to continue to work to find ways to get better on that end of the floor so that can mirror our defense.
Hope you enjoyed watching those 5 highlights from this past season. We're going to take our final break, come back with some closing comments, maybe take a look at next season right after this.
The University of Akron is more than a college or campus.
It's a connection to the community.
To the thousands of opportunities right here in Northeast Ohio.
And to the partnerships with employers and organizations.
Like the LeBron James Family Foundation, where we connect kids to life-changing possibilities.
It's the strength of UA, this city, and these connections.
It's where students make an impact on their community and in the world.
While still making an impact
in the classroom,
on the track, in the boardroom,
and in my community.
That's what makes us the University of Akron.
Roman was born with a hole in his heart. But thanks to the experts at Summa who found the problem and fixed it quickly, he's feeling 26 again. Not 76. Minimally invasive heart procedures, many performed in under 2 hours. Summa Health, vital for getting back in the game and more.
As we mentioned, this is the final week of Zips basketball with head coach John Groce. We hope you've enjoyed watching highlights all season long. We've had people all over the country watch this show, including folks over in Hawaii. So, Coach, we got a lot of people to thank, including, beginning with Bud Wentz from the Wentz Financial Group.
Yeah, obviously we appreciate all the people that contribute, but Bud certainly has done a great job of helping us, obviously, with this TV show, sponsoring it, and being out in the forefront of helping us push our program forward. So we're thankful for him and Wentz Financial Group and all of their efforts.
He's almost like an assistant coach. He sits down there right next to you, Coach, at home games.
Yeah, I seek guidance from him sometimes.
Yes. I'll take. Thanks again, Bud, for everything you do. Other people we want to thank, how about Chad Welker, who's been our producer? Allison Rhodes has been our director. Brian Dennison, Spencer German, they have helped with the features, doing a great job with that. Colin Brennan, Caleb Morgan, Coach, they've been behind the camera. So this doesn't happen just with a couple guys. It's a team effort.
No, a total team effort. And I enjoy, Joe, thank you. Working with you has been great. And the whole crew in here that puts this on. We have a great time when we tape it, and very appreciative of all their efforts and their time.
Coach, next season will be here before you know it. A lot of news coming out. So make sure you go to gozips.com, and we'll be back next year with more University of Akron basketball. Thanks to Coach Groce. I'm Joe Den. We'll see you back here next year. We'll see you with the University of Akron basketball highlights.
Wentz Financial Group presents Zips Basketball Weekly with John Groce. Investment management for your lifetime. Contributing sponsors include Summa Health, it's your health. Let's own it together. Bud Light, the world's famous light beer. Dilly Dilly. Doubletree by Hilton Akron Fairlawn, preferred hotel of Zips Athletics. By your Akron, Canton, Bryant heating and cooling dealers. And the Spaghetti Warehouse, famous for its 15-layer lasagna.